Let me take y'all back for a minute. Before everything was streaming, before you could just search up whatever you wanted on your phone. There was something special about turning on TV late at night and seeing that little Adult Swim logo. Yeah, you know the little Adult Swim logo. The shows that come on after Cartoon Network. Because if you knew, you knew. Adult Swim wasn't just another channel or another block of cartoons. It felt like a secret part of television that you discovered as you got older. Because during the day, you had cartoons made for kids. But when night come around, everything changed. The shows got weirder, the jokes got more mature, the humor got darker, and suddenly you realize, oh, this isn't Cartoon Network anymore. One of the biggest things that made Adult Swim special was the time you watched it. It was late. You stand at grandma's house, everybody else sleep, and watching something late automatically made it feel different. You could be sitting in your room with the lights off. Everybody else in the house might be asleep. You got the TV going in the background. Then you hear the Adult Swim music. I see one of those little bumpers. It created an atmosphere, it had you thinking, man, what is this? Oh, I'm older now, I can stay up. You experience nighttime television. And the funniest part, sometimes you don't even know what you're watching. You turn the TV on expecting one thing, and suddenly you're watching something ridiculous. And instead of changing the channel, you stayed because you wanted to know, what is this? And then you had the shows to come with it. You had the Boondocks, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Robot Chicken, American Dad, one of my favorites, Samurai Jack. Can't forget Family Guy, and so many other shows that gave Adult Swim its own identity. These cartoons that were simply trying to entertain children, they had jokes that you understood differently as you got older. You could watch the episode when you were younger, laugh at one thing, then watch it again years later and realize, wait a minute, they really got away with this when we was younger. That was part of growing up with Adult Swim. You started understanding humor more as you got older. That's what made it feel like programming grew with you. But we cannot talk about Adult Swim without talking about the bumpers. Those bumpers were different. Sometimes it was just text on the screen, sometimes it was a random message. But every time you laughed, sometimes it was something completely confusing. That's exactly why people remember them. You be watching your show and suddenly, black screen, Adult Swim logo, random message, then back to the show. It sounds simple, but it gave Adult Swim an identity of its own. You knew exactly where you were. Those little moments before shows became part of the experience. Honestly, some of those bumpers were funnier than the actual commercials. They made Adult Swim feel like it had its own personality, like the network itself was joking with you. Here go a couple examples of bumpers. Like, check these out. Tell me if you like. And let's not forget about the humor. The humor was another huge reason people loved it. Adult Swim wasn't afraid to be weird. It wasn't afraid to make you uncomfortable. It wasn't afraid to have a joke that absolutely made no sense. But sometimes that was the whole point. You be sitting there thinking, why am I watching this? You're still watching. That's the magic. Adult Swim understood that not every joke needs to be explained. Sometimes something could just be completely ridiculous, and he'll laugh about it. The more ridiculous it got, the funnier it became. That's the style of humor ended up influencing a lot of internet humor today, too. The random edits, the observed memes, the deadpan jokes, and the strange characters that came with all the cartoons, the humor where the joke is almost, there is no joke. Adult Swim was really good at that. And here's something I think people forgot. Adult Swim felt like a secret club, especially when you were younger. You knew you really was supposed to be watching some of this stuff. Maybe your parents didn't understand what you were laughing at. Maybe you had turned the volume down when somebody walked past your room. And if your friends watched Adult Swim, you immediately had something to talk about. You could quote a character, quote a show, tell your friend. Y'all had secret jokes about all the shows y'all watch. And some of the scenes, just stuck with you in your childhood. You always quote a scene. Like, say, me and my friends used to quote Mr. Pickles or China IL or Teenage Euthanasia. Man, come on, there's so many shows that you can sit and talk about. But Adult Swim had a thing to do that, to get you hooked at a young age, to watch it. You never understand the jokes, but you'll sit there and laugh like, this is really funny. Then every weekend you'll wait late night. You know what time it come on. You know the shows you watch. You had your own little community. You had your own little culture if you had the same shows. And honestly, I think that's why people are so nostalgic for that era. It wasn't just about shows. It was about the experience of watching them. You couldn't just open the app and watch every episode you wanted. You had to sit and wait. You had the time. You had to look at the schedule, especially if you had cable. You had to sit and see when the program was coming on. Sometimes you just got to sit down, watch. Just think about the old days. Those songs was really good at doing that, especially Family Guy. I know Family Guy had a big impact on somebody's humor, especially mine. American Dad too. Like, how could Roger get away with so many identities? And Stan Smith is the guy. Then you think about Peter. One thing he's sitting there, the next thing he's doing something that's totally ridiculous. Like, how are you fighting a chicken on top of a plane? get radioactive superpowers. Remember that one episode when Family Guy, when they had got the superpower from the radioactive thing, and Stewie was a head with tentacles. And he laid a whole bunch of eggs and they had little Stewies that tried to destroy the whole town. And I think they only saved it because of chocolate or something. But that's what I miss about all the old days. You know what was good about Adult Swim? Sometimes you catch something and discover it completely by accident. That's something streaming doesn't always recreate. Back then, television could just surprise you. You didn't always control what was next. And Adult Swim were best places for the unexpected to get discovered. So when people ask why Adult Swim was so special, I think it's because Adult Swim wasn't just television. It was also atmosphere. The late night, the weird bumpers, the crazy show, the random humor, the music, the nostalgia. You just could escape your daily life as a kid. Something that made you feel older than what you was. And I know everybody got that feeling of being awake when everybody was asleep. For a lot of us, Adult Swim was a childhood that started turning into adulthood. And then one night you realized that the cartoons were growing up with you. And that's why Adult Swim will always have a special place in television history. Because if you were there, you already know.